Okay, let's talk about what happens when you receive a text message about you that was not for you from your boss. Now, I've talked about this several times in the last 6.5 years, but only ever in written form, as far as I can remember. But this is something that I think is important to talk about like this, because many of you will have had experiences in corporate where you feel like you cannot stop. You have to keep going, like it's absolutely essential that you do what you're meant to do in the workplace, often to your detriment. And this was certainly my experience when I worked in law. Now, a few months after I'd been signed off with stress, I went and spoke to my boss and said that I had realized, for various reasons, that it was not possible for me to be healthy and thrive in that particular environment. And I basically asked to leave without having to work my notice period. And a couple of days later, I got a text message in error that basically said, why should we pay her off? Um, she got sick. That's not our fault. We did all we could for her. I'm going to go and draft like a job spec to replace her. Now, whilst this was not a comfortable message to receive, and this isn't me like on the person, because I think like there's always a whole load of reasons why we do anything. What it did for me was incredibly powerful because in that moment, it allowed me to see the reality of being in that particular corporate environment where all the time that I was useful, I was made to feel like I was incredibly important, valued, worthwhile, like a real asset to the team. And at the point of time that I stopped being quote unquote useful, it was like the ties were cut and I was dead to them. And it really opened up my eyes to how much of myself I had given and sacrificed for an entity that didn't actually care about me as a person. And that was so beneficial for me because it helped really validate my decision to leave that space and do things my way and on my terms. Now, whilst as a coach, I do and will work with people in corporate environments, the vast majority of the time, I'm actually working with them to help them get out. So it might not be immediately, there might be quite a long transitional period of how do you continue in this environment and be healthy and be well and thrive and have your boundaries and work through your stuff. But there's always for me an underlying undertone of that being a preparatory time span to help you get out. Because the truth is that many of you, particularly if you are watching my stuff, you were not born to work under the controls of a corporate environment that has no space for your humanity. You are too sensitive in a good way, too empathic, too clued in, too conscious to want to work within the confines of those systems. Now, the reality is that in the world we live in, you also have to have money. You have to survive. You have to be able to pay your bills. And so if you aren't in a position where you've got a ton of savings in the bank, there is potentially this practical aspect of needing to carry on and figure out a way to carry on while you do what is next. But for me, some of these experiences, and I know many of you have had them too, but I will just talk about mine so I can maintain confidentiality. These are the experiences that open my eyes to the truth of the systems that we live in and that we operate from. And there is nothing wrong with you if you are within those systems wondering why you are finding it so challenging. It's just the reality is probably that you were not designed to be in those systems. Like I was not designed to spend however many hours a day inside an office. I thrive when I get to have a long walk outside each day, when I get to spend time in nature, when I get to rest. I actually spend, whilst I'm in front of a screen right now, I spend very little time in front of a screen in my day to day because that is what works for me and for my natural rhythms. So, just some stuff for you to think about if you are still in that space where you are giving too much of yourself to a corporate entity that, let's be real, probably doesn't give a shit about you. And if you are in that phase of wanting to explore and unravel and look for how you do things, how you can do things in a way that is more aligned with you, more aligned with your natural rhythms, more aligned with who you are and what you came here to do, then please reach out, have a conversation with me. This is the stuff that I am incredible at because it's the path I have had to walk myself. So just some stuff to think about. And please, please, please stop giving all of yourself to entities that as soon as you leave will no longer care about you. It's just not what you're here for. All right, wishing you a fantastic week. Any questions, let me know. Comments, DMs, whatever feels good. And stay well.